Welcome to the Real Estate Show. From buying to selling and everything in between. Rochester's home for everything real estate. And now, your hosts from the Anthony Butera team of Keller Williams Realty, Greater Rochester. It's Anthony Butera and Jason Mancuso.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 108 of the Real Estate Show. Anthony and Jason here. They've been investing heavily into GameStop stock this entire week. GameStop and what was the other one? AMC theaters.
Yeah, movie theaters.
So
unbelievable.
What I find funny is, like, I'm friends with a lot of people that, like, they're self-proclaimed, like, day traders just crushing it, right? And yet, like, nobody will show, like, you know, where they're at, what they have, all the good moves. Are just like they're waking up and killing it, day trading all day, and like their car is broken down in the parking lot and they can't pay their bills, but they're killing it day trading.
It's interesting the way this is playing out. I mean, I'm just really curious to see if this trend continues or if this lasts.
No, they shut it down.
Yeah.
All the day trading like apps like Robinhood, they won't even let you buy AMC theaters, any of these.
Right, for that, yeah, for those particular stocks. But however, like, you know, collectively these Reddit groups or whatever it is, they're like finding out, you know, because this all started, like, they found out these hedge funds are shorting these stocks, meaning that they've got a bet that the stocks are going to go down, and when it does, they would cash in on it. So collectively, somehow people found out that, like, okay, we can then start buying it to drive the price up, and it will essentially screw over these hedge funds that, you know, have billions, if not trillions of dollars at stake at any given time, not necessarily in one stock, but yeah, it's the financial markets are interesting, and with the way of the world progressing, social media wise, and you know, information superhighway, it's kind of, it makes sense that this is happening, I guess. Dude, in a way.
I love
especially
it.
With the people being cooped up at home for the last 12 months or whatever.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, man. I feel like all these jobs now, because of technology, like, they're all these sexy jobs. Like, get your black coffee and go to the factory, right? Like, I'm just tired of it. I mean, seriously, like,
are you talking to the jobless hedge fund managers right now, or the Redditors that now have $50,000 in the bank account?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Both.
I just feel like I just feel like whenever I'm talking to people and I'm going on, like, listing appointments and I'm asking them what they do, like, I don't know what anyone does. I just know it sounds super easy. And, like, growing up, like, going to work meant that, like, you were building something, or you were moving auto parts on an assembly line, and you were working B shift, and then you went into a bowling league after that, and you got hammered with your coworkers, right?
Everyone's a social media manager right now.
Yeah, no, you didn't have this growing up, right? I mean,
Anthony wants everybody back in the coal mine.
Yeah.
Get in there, dig up some dirt, blow your leg off.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Trump tried to bring the coal back, and you guys didn't want to listen.
You guys.
Well, another topic. Mark, thanks for joining us this week after you're now celebrity, right?
That's right. Yeah. I was on my game show, or it aired. We filmed it a couple months ago, but everybody, I lost to the better woman. You know, she walked away with $30,000. I walked away with nothing, but
oh, man.
But was it worth it for the memories? Absolutely not. It was not worth it at all. My highlight was stopping at a New Jersey truck stop and getting Taco Bell. Yes. That they somehow made taste worse than normal Taco Bell because it was Jersey.
Of course it does.
Did you know that you can't pump your own gas in New Jersey?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, did they, like, bring it out to your car like a like a Sonic?
Well, it was the same place. I went to pump my gas, and just, like, some stoned hippie dude was just like, "Oh, I got it." I'm like, "Got what?" And he starts like you can't legally pump your own gas there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Full service.
Because they're too dumb. New Jersey is too dumb to handle gasoline.
Mark, you're not old enough, but Jason, I mean, like, you remember like all the gas pumps lifting up the license plate to pump gas?
Like that's where it was.
I mean, I know what
That's
you're,
where
I
the
know what
gas.
you're, yeah, I know what you're talking about, but that was before my day.
Yeah, were you born in 1950?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I like
the senior member here.
I remember as a kid, like everyone's gas tank. It was like you lift up the license plate was like on a hinge. You lifted it up, and that's where you pumped your gas. God, I'm getting old.
Yeah, so that was yeah. Now I'm famous. I got an agent now.
Wow. Yeah, I Googled Mark's name, and it said married to, and you could click on Lily.
Yeah.
Like it's.
I love how my parents were super excited about this, and not that it's not a big deal, but I was also on the radio for 12 years. You know, like, and they never got excited about that. They didn't care about that. But I'm on TBS awesome. for 15 minutes.
Are you famous enough where someone could Google like what's Mark Myra make, and it gives like your net worth?
You can Google me though and see a national newspaper trying to cancel me 6 or 7 years ago for comments I made. So I'm big enough to get canceled.
All right.
If that means anything
that
to
was
you guys.
That was before canceling was even cool.
Yeah. That was like the first one to be canceled.
Yeah, you started the trend. Yeah. Good for you.
I didn't touch anybody. It was nothing like that.
I'm assuming you're not going to get residuals on the reruns of these episodes.
No, he starts Monday at Valio.
I'm going to go to that place at the New Jersey Turnpike and start pumping gas for people.
I love it.
No, I was telling Anthony before we started this, they don't even like, so throughout the game, you're gaining money, like kind of Jeopardy style, right? So it's like I lost, but by the time I lost, I had like $2,000 that I'd won. And I got off stage and they're like, oh yeah, you don't get that money. You didn't win, bud. And you don't get a stipend. They just kind of put you up in a hotel.
He had an $80 parking.
Yeah. I had to pay for the valet parking at the hotel. And then I got like Middle Eastern, what's that, halal, whatever meat, street meat, and got diarrhea the next day. So Taco Bell and street meat doesn't go well.
Nice. Did you get shawarma?
I think that's what it was. Is that
I love that stuff. Yeah, I got that in Toronto when I was there pre-COVID.
What is it?
It's kind of like the stuff they chop off the spit. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's basically like a gyro, you know? They just put it in a pita or something. Then they go, do you want the white sauce and the hot sauce? And you just say yes, and then you get diarrhea. And that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's good.
Good living. Good living.
Sure. Anywho.
Guess
that's it. That's the episode. See you guys.
I thought he was going to segue diarrhea with the Bills game.
Yeah.
So no more Bills talk until next September.
Yeah. Tough loss, good season, right?
Yes. I'm completely fine with it.
Yep. Real estate. We wanted to talk today about a process as a consumer and what to do. And, there's these things, right? You have information at the tip of your fingers all day long, whenever you want. And that's great. And there's a ton of value to that. For multiple facets of living these days. I think Zillow is the main player in the technology field for the consumer in terms of like a website or an app or whatever you want to call it, to where you can look up homes and see pictures and see everything that you need at the tip of your fingers these days. I think what's kind of, I don't know if it's misleading, but just what most consumers don't realize is the process that they're getting into as soon as they take advantage of one of these websites, whether it's Zillow, Realtor.com, there's Redfin, there's all sorts of stuff out there these days, and it's not all bad. Okay, so this isn't like a total like bash, on these sites, given that they're kind of stuff that we utilize as realtors, but also, a form of competition as well. So it's not like a total bash. It's more of a education for the consumer. And I think, the overall message is like, you can probably accomplish more and more efficiently by just, contacting the agent directly that you've worked with or know of, kind of like old school methods. Even if you don't have one, you ask somebody for a referral type of deal. And the reason is let's just use Zillow as an example. So what happens if you're on the Zillow app and you click on a property and you want more information, and you're actually in the market looking for a home, and you want to be able to see the property or have questions answered, etc. What happens now, and this changed about 2 years ago. It used to be that you'd just be directly routed to an agent locally in the marketplace, and they can help you from there. What happens now is you're going to get routed. Your call is going to get routed to a call center. I know they've got a big one in Denver. It's not, they're whatever it is. They're all over the place. But essentially, you're dealing with a call center that's going to field your call. They're going to ask you if you're actually looking to buy a home, just so they know, like, you're not a renter looking to rent a home that's for sale, and then sending you to an agent, which is kind of counterproductive. So you're going to deal with this call center. I actually did a test. I kind of, I don't want to say I have like a burner phone or anything, but I kind of logged out of our Zillow account and figured out a way to like pretend to be a consumer. Did a test with this process a week or two ago. I waited on hold for 10 minutes with this call center. With a list. It was one of our listings. I wanted to see what would happen. Wow. And waited on hold for 10 minutes. And actually sat there and waited just because I was curious as to what the process actually is for the consumer. Waited on hold for 10 minutes only to be disconnected. And then I'm getting texts from the rep at Zillow at the call center, just, hey, sorry, we got disconnected with the agent. We can link you up if you're still available now. I said, yeah, sure, no problem. Asking me a few questions and just saying, yes, I want information on the property. Who can help me? Put me in touch with somebody who can help me. And, so about a 20-minute process after the fact, I finally do get a hold of an agent. Dirtbag me. It's like, hey, I know the agent. Sorry, just testing out Zillow here. Didn't mean to bug you and pretend to be a lead when I'm not. But
it's new age. It's new age switchboard operator, right? Like the 50s, the 40s. Like that's what you'd call the operator and tell them where to plug you in.
Yeah, it is. So keep in mind, while you're talking with this person at the call center, they know nothing about the property or the local Rochester market that you're inquiring about. And then you're going to get plugged into an agent who Zillow's recently switched to where, specifically Zillow, they've recently switched to where now you don't, if you're talking or if you're inquiring about a specific listing, you're not even going to talk to the listing agent if that's what you want to do because you want details on the property. You're just talking to somebody who's advertising in that zip code. So they may or may not be familiar with the property at all. Certainly they're a licensed realtor and they have the ability to help you and essentially follow up with you probably with the details or on questions that you have, or to schedule a time to see, the property in person. 20-minute process just to get to, somebody who is in the industry locally, but may not have immediate questions or answers to your questions, versus calling the agent that you've worked with before. And even then they're not going to have the immediate answers either, most likely, but they have the ability to either dive into it while you're on the phone, or they'll follow up with you, and it's somebody that hopefully you trust, that's why you're calling them, or you trust the person that you got the referral from. Want to make sure the consumers were aware of what this online world, especially on your your smartphone, leads you to these days. And it's not all bad, but it's it's not all as efficient as it can be, and the information on these sites specifically isn't always accurate either. So there's just a lot of stuff out there not saying it's bad. I just kind of wanted to get this message out there just so the consumers were prepped in terms of what they're getting into when they go down this road.
Well, Jason, I think it's important to know, to share what Zillow really is, right? To a consumer, it's just a it's a really user-friendly way to search for homes. The platform, the look and the feel of it's great. I will use it. If I'm on the road or something, I got to pull something up. Even if you just start Googling, if there's 10 search results on Google, they're probably going to be 4 or 5 of them, right? But I think that the consumers think that it's this cool website and they charge advertising for companies that are maybe advertising on their site. The reality is Zillow is charging real estate agents a lot of money to advertise on their site. So when you do call about a listing, if that listing is listed by an agent that doesn't spend a ton of money with Zillow, you're not going to get the listing agent. You're going to get an agent that has no affiliation with that listing other than advertising with Zillow in that zip code.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's a big
that's also what's changed recently too, to where it used to be like almost a guarantee that you would get the listing agent. Now it's that agent also has to be spending money to advertise where their listing is advertised.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, I don't want to be fraudulent in any way. We use Zillow for our business. Okay. We our goal is to meet people that we otherwise wouldn't have met and be able to try to strike that relationship to where we can help them, with their goals of either buying or selling a home.
Yep.
And it does well for us too. It's just, I think, the genesis, so to speak, of wanting to have this conversation is, since Zillow has made this change about 2 years ago to this call center type of approach, I can kind of feel like the frustration from the consumers when they finally do get a hold of us. And it's like, I've been waiting on hold, or, everybody at the call center calls themselves Alex. So it's like, Alex told me this or Alex told me that. And it's just, if we're good at what we do, then we can kind of, save that and explain things properly and be able to help. But I can see where then the consumer, if they're, getting in touch with an agent who's not as efficient as we are, shameless plug, that, they'll then get even more frustrated as a consumer, because now they just dealt with Alex who didn't know what they're doing. And now they got another agent who either comes across the wrong way or, may not be on top of their game as well. And, just ends up being a totally shitty experience for the consumer, versus when they could just, get back into the saddle with the person they've worked with before if they had a good experience, or, whatever. Ask your best friend, ask your mom, I need a real estate agent. Who should I go to?
So if you're in the process of, let's say you're just like looking for homes, or you're in the process where you're going to sell and then buy a home. At what point is it like, oh, Zillow's helpful? And then at what point are you like, okay, now it's time to actually talk to your real estate agent rather than go through Zillow? Like, what point does it stop being useful as a tool?
Our message is that, don't get me wrong, like whether it's Zillow or whatever other app, there's value to these apps in terms of like window shopping, right? And generally, even if you're not in the market for a home, like sometimes you just need to get an idea on how to renovate your kitchen or your backyard or whatever, right? Or it's just a general hobby that people have of like, they look for homes for sale because, it's kind of fun for them, whatever it is, right? To answer your question, Mark, I mean, I think it's just, if you're a good realtor in the business and it is your business, then you want, like, and we tell people all this all the time, I want you to call me, even if it's just the most random question, like I need a plumber, to ranging to, obviously I need to buy or sell a house soon, or if it's just, hey, I'm thinking of selling in 2 years. I'd rather be engaged with somebody as early on in their thought process so that we can help with the game plan and make sure that they're going about it the right way, versus kind of winging it on their own. And some, more often than not, people are, not like doing anything detrimental to a sale or a purchase, but sometimes they do. And then it's like, we got to come in and pick up and try to figure out either how to fix it or how to make do with what we have at that point. And you can kind of prevent any shot to the foot, or just get, the right professional advice from the onset. So to answer your question, like, call us anytime. You're not bothering us. It's our job. It's our job to have as many relationships as possible to where we can help people when they need help. And that's just a minor, simple question that's not related to a sale, or, hey, we're getting ready to do something, sell or buy. And obviously, that's I don't want to say more relevant, but just more, more applicable to what the ultimate goal is, type of thing. So I don't know, Mark, I'd like to get more, if you have any other thoughts or questions, like from the consumer end of things. I think it's if you throw them at us, but that was a good question.
Yeah. I mean, I think with me, because I've done, with any website like Home Advisor, Zillow, there's always information out there where it's like, you can look up how much your home is worth, or how much would a patio cost. And immediately what turns me off is when you get to the point where, let's say you're like looking at patio costs on Home Advisor, when they want to start taking your information, and then it's just like, oh, okay, they're taking my phone number, they're taking my email, and now I'm going to get spammed for the rest of existence. I'm going to have to delete my email. I'm going to have to move. Burn all my clothes,
I mean, that's the way of the world these days. If you're on any website and you're submitting your information, you're gonna get contacted people.
You're done,
or spammed, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I mean, especially in the real estate field or anything related to it, like, you're gonna get calls, and from there you're gonna get multiple calls. Here's another example of another resource that's kind of gaining popularity, is a site called HomeLight, where essentially, you'll ask to speak with top-rated professionals in the industry. You're not going to give your information to one agent. You're going to get calls from probably 5, maybe even 10. So now your phone is ringing off the hook by all these, rightfully so, hungry real estate agents that want to try to have the opportunity to gain your business, versus just, why don't you seek out somebody to call specifically if you don't have them, or, get a referral, or just call the person you've worked with in the past. So that's kind of like, kind of behind the scenes mission, so to speak, that we're on in our profession, but it's genuine in that we just want to help the people that we know and that we already have relationships with, and certainly meet new people as well to be able to help too when they need it. So it's as simple as just call the person that directly. I guarantee you they're willing to help, even if you're years out from doing anything, or just again, need a referral for a plumber.
Yeah, and I guess the message too is like, it's easy to click a button, or it's easy to just call that number on there, because we're in the instant gratification world. We just don't think that your experience is going to be one of instant gratification.
Yeah,
it's going to be a lot of that. Going to be a lot of dot connecting.
How would you, if I'm looking at, like, let's say, anybody can really look up their home, and how real are some of that information on Zillow? Like your home, like how much your home is worth?
Yeah. It's not even, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some cases where it's really close, and maybe because that neighborhood turned over enough time and that house was sold just a few years ago, it's basically just an algorithm that Zillow uses, but yet and people ask us all the time, like, well, Zillow said it was worth this much. It was like, okay, who from Zillow came inside your house, saw that you have 14 cats and you guys both smoke cigars inside, right? Like, they don't know that. So it's an algorithm, right? Yeah, without seeing the inside or knowing how old your roof is or knowing how old your furnace, you know what I mean? So it's, and if you read the fine print, it gets you within, they say the guarantee will be within 30% of the actual sales price. So that's a 60% swing, right?
Yeah, right,
so
exactly.
It gets, and their intent is to not figure out how much your house is worth. Their intent is to spark a conversation to sell advertising to agents they're going to, and that's enough to get you to connect with an agent, right? So there's a method to it.
Now, don't get me wrong too. Like that example of the Zestimate, they call it, with Zillow. It's it's data driven, it's algorithm driven. So there is it's not like they're just pulling the number out of totally thin air, but like Anthony said, they've never seen your house in person, much less even been in the neighborhood to know, like, all right, here's this neighborhood, but the neighborhood, quarter mile away, which data is still being picked up from for this estimate is being used, and they're totally different with a $150,000 difference in sale price. So it's not accurate. It can be, sometimes they can be spot on, but it's more of a luck thing than actual meaning or experience. So again, it's like there's I always call these types of resources, they're good resources. They're not great resources. Like, they're great for window shopping. They're good for like just getting started or like poking around the internet. I think just in general, real estate aside, we live in a world where if you find yourself plugging your information into any website, you're going to get, bombarded with calls from there.
Yep.
So just be prepared for it.
Cool.
Versus just, again, finding your person and contacting them directly.
So just invest in GameStop.
That's right.
You'll be good. That's what Zillow says.
Yeah. GameStop, go Bills, and TBS game shows.
Yeah. AndrewButerraTeam.com. Go check it out. Subscribe to the Real Estate Show there, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thanks for listening to The Real Estate Show. Find us on Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. If you're looking to sell or buy, talk to the Anthony Butera team of Keller Williams Realty, Greater Rochester. Visit AnthonyButerraTeam.com.